Thank you, Senator Paul. Senator Mike Crapo from Idaho. I first want to welcome the Sacketts here. I think everybody in America knows of the issues that you have faced, and many of us are thankful for the fact that you were willing to stand up and fight. And there are a lot of us who are backing you in this and are willing to help continue this fight. We are going to continue this fight here in Congress, and just again welcome you and thank you for joining us. And I know because of the interest of time that there's a lot that I could say that I will hold or maybe submit for entry into the record, but I just want to say that the abuse of the EPA in terms of cases like we will hear from the Sacketts is unfortunately not unusual. And whether it is efforts to dramatically expand jurisdictional authority over things like global warming, or trying to assert jurisdiction over all waters of the United States, even places where there isn't standing water or even a credible argument that there are navigable waters, or simply the abusive kinds of treatment that folks like the Sacketts and others have faced. The reality is that this is an agency whose operations need to be brought under scrutiny. And again, I thank you, Senator Paul, for bringing these issues to the attention of the American people.
Bullying, that's what the EPA does. They came into our life, took our property, put us in limbo, told us we can't do anything with it, and then threaten us with fines. They use intimidation, and us as American people, my husband and I, are really kind of fed up. We're scared to take this fight on, but it's to do the right thing, because they can't be allowed to do this to everybody in America. And they are. We have a lot of people that have come forward and explained their situation, and it's wrong. This is why we are suing the government, the EPA. We've taken them all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court with the help of the Pacific Legal Foundation, and come this January, we hope, or we will win.
Good afternoon. We are very grateful to be here today, and we want to thank Senator Paul for arranging this forum on the importance of property rights and the need to call the government to account when it turns people's lives into nightmares. Chantel and I own a small business. We are not political activists. We bought our piece of property in a residential area of Priest Lake 6 years ago. Our dream was for a modest 3-bedroom home. We could never have imagined a long-growing battle with the federal bureaucracy, or that we would one day be here telling all of you of a federal bullying to members of Congress in an open forum, or that we would have property rights lawsuit before the United States Supreme Court, where our case will be heard this winter. Our story is not complicated. We always wanted to live on the shores of Priest Lake, but we couldn't afford to live right on the water. When a 2/3 acre came for sale with a great view of Priest Lake about 500 feet away, we bought it for $23,000. We went to Bonner County. We got the building permit checklist. We did everything on the checklist, got our building permit, and started working. We did everything right. Our lot is in a platted subdivision with a sewer hookup. There are houses on 3 sides and a county road on each side of our property. So the next thing we did is we started preparing the site for the foundation. We were nearly done with this when we were blindsided by the Environmental Protection Agency. 3 officials showed up out of the blue and ordered work to stop with no credentials or anything in writing telling us what we were doing wrong. The 3 EPA officials that showed up on the site told us we were building on a wetland and demanded, "Where is our permit to do so?" We asked them, "What are you talking about? There's no standing water on our property. There's no flow of water off of our property." They said it was on the wetlands inventory. Okay, well, we looked it up, plugged in the coordinates that the federal EPA gave us, and our property is not in the EPA's inventory. The EPA stated the wetlands inventory is not always correct. This is our federal government. That is absurd. So how would one who has purchased property in this country be able to find out if their lot is in an existing subdivision even if the federal government's wetland inventory is not accurate? We asked, give us some details in writing spelling out what we've done wrong. After we sent 2 certified letters to the EPA, we finally got something in writing 7 months later. We knew this wasn't wetlands, and we hired an engineer, a soil scientist, and wetlands experts whose reports confirmed it wasn't. EPA doesn't care. So they hit us with the so-called compliance order. They told us we had to remove the work we had done, put it back the way it was, put wetlands plants that were not native to the site, fence the site, and maintain it for 3 to 5 years, then apply for a permit. Even though the EPA told us on May 31st that the EPA would not issue a permit, this would cost tens of thousands of dollars more than what we paid for the land. And if we didn't comply, we are subject to $37,500 a day. Can you imagine that? By now, we're under the threat of $40 million in fine. Incredible. No, it's terrifying. We thought, how do we get out of this? There'll be nothing left of our business, nothing left of our lives, our company, 40 jobs, 40 families would be lost. But EPA said we couldn't directly appeal their claim that our lands is wetlands, and the Ninth Circuit backed them up. It said we'd first have to go through a long, expensive, and probably futile permit process and be turned down. Thank goodness the Supreme Court has decided to take our case, and thank goodness for Damien Schiff and the lawyers of the Pacific Legal Foundation for getting us to the Supreme Court. Yes, we are fighting for ourselves, but bigger than that, we are fighting for everyone in this country that owns property. Can EPA take over your land calling it wetlands? Without meaningful direct judicial review, we believe property owners have a constitutional right to have their day in court, and EPA has to be subject to the rule of the law. Thanks.